What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Redditgoss. On this channel, we read and react to the juiciest stories Reddit has to offer. All relevant links will be posted in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. Am I the asshole for telling my ex-best friend and ex-husband's affair partner he tried to get me back when she miscarried, but not before she married him? I was best friends with Jess, 37 female, for almost 30 years when I learned she was having an affair with my husband, Henry, 40 male. I divorced him and ended my friendship with her. She was pregnant when I learned the truth, while Henry and I had our kids who were 2 and 4 at the time. This was 4 years ago. During our divorce, Jess suffered a later miscarriage and Henry tried to get me back. He sent me hundreds of texts about how he wanted our family and only stayed with Jess because she was pregnant and how he'd want to fight for me. He wrote a lot of awful things about Jess, and he even sent photos of the gift he got me for my birthday that he, quote, didn't have the chance to give me, unquote, because I found out about him and Jess and ended our marriage. He was trying to get me back for a solid 3 to 4 months. And even after he stopped the constant push to get me back, he was always saying he loved me and wanted me. Jess wanted me not to hate them, and I told her to F off and leave me alone because I didn't want to see her again. And I knew I didn't get that effing choice because she was selfish. And that she and Henry were disgusting. She tried to shame me for not sympathizing about her miscarriage, and I told her to get out of my face. She hadn't expected me to reject her, I don't think, and became angry with me for rejecting her when we were having a rough patch. Man, cheating on me with my man is not a rough patch. That's a whole betrayal, and she's lucky that LP didn't beat her and turn her every which way but loose. I'm just saying. She tried gloating that my kids would have her and she'd be their second mommy, etc. My kids don't call her mom or even say that they have 3 parents. I never tried to stop it, but they just don't. I avoid Jess and Henry until I can't, and I didn't send a wedding gift when they got married, which also pissed Jess off. While Henry was upset it wasn't him marrying Jess instead of us remarrying. I kept the text from him because if he ever started to increase his efforts, I wanted to have proof of harassment and the fact I had asked him to stop repeatedly. He even told me when Jess miscarried again and needed a procedure which showed she could never get pregnant again. She knew none of this, but she confronted me again recently about not being friendly, hating them, and trying to rub it in my face that they are a family unit for my kids, and how I'm just the extra person they have to see. And she brought up Henry always wanting her, and I was pathetic keeping the kids from embracing her as mom. I brought up Henry to her during a fight, which happened when she showed up at my house while the kids were at school, and the fact that he only wanted her because of the pregnancy, and tried many times to get me back. I even showed her a lot of what he sent me, and the ones where he shared her fertility troubles with me. Now she's pissed at me for not telling her beforehand, and Henry's mom, who I blocked during the divorce, showed up to say how awful I was to ruin the marriage like that, and why couldn't I let them be happy. She told me I was extra petty for revealing all this after so long. Am I the asshole? So as far as I'm concerned, no, this OP is definitely not the asshole. Like, where does Jess get off thinking that she can still maintain a friendship with her after this huge betrayal? And then trying to somehow insert herself as like a bonus mom to these kids? Like, this is absolutely insane. And to find out that your now husband still wants your ex-best friend and you beefing with her and not him is just, that's crazy to me. Very male-centered behavior, but I mean, what can you do? All right, so let's get into some comments. Lunar Tiger 99 says, not the a-hole. You were just protecting yourself and your kids. And let's be real. Jess is not a good person if she was willing to have an affair with your husband. You don't owe her any sympathy or friendliness. Keep doing what's best for you and your children. OP responded and said, she's not the person I believe she was most of my life. She showed me that she's all for bringing up standing by each other, but what she really means is I should just get over her sleeping with my husband. I'm just glad I finally know now and don't invest in a relationship with her. Period. And this person says she wanted OP to send them a gift for their wedding to show how happy she was for them. Either she's delusional or she feels guilty. OP really did need to knock her off her high horse. 100%. Like, that's the audacity for me. Okay, one more. Traveler says, not the a-hole. She's the one who came at you with insults and accusations. She's okay hurting you over and over. You just let her know she was wrong. And as for his mom saying you can't let them be happy, you did. You never said anything before. You left them alone to deal with their pathetic lives. It wasn't until she continued to insult and belittle you that you shared the truth. If her or his mother shows up again, I'd immediately call the police. No warning, no quote unquote, if you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Quote, just call once when they arrive, then tell them to leave. When they don't and the police arrive, let them deal with them. Curious what your ex has to say. I'm sure he'll come up with some lies and manipulate her to stay. She's so pitiful, she'll stay with him thinking he chose her versus he just doesn't want to be alone. He'll cheat on her too, and she'll lose him as she got him. Edited to add, get cameras in case they show up again. Keep any harassment evidence. Go to court if needed, as your kids come first. I would hope Henry at least is a good enough dad to not force the kids to accept her as their mom or call her mom. It will only cause more issues for them. And lastly, OP responded and said, he hasn't said anything yet, although he could see this as the perfect chance for us to get back together. And I'll be ignoring anything like that if he tries. So it sounds like Reddit has deemed this lady not the a-hole, which I agree because, I mean, how could you find her wrong in this situation? There's like no way. Okay, so let's move on to our next story. This one comes from the r/Am I the A-hole subreddit as well. Am I the a-hole for refusing to leave a wedding because I wore a dress that looks white under black light? A few months ago, I attended a close friend's wedding with my husband. I wore a yellow dress. Think like Belle and Beauty and the Beast yellow. Bumblebee yellow. So yellow that I did not question if it was appropriate or not to wear to a wedding, and neither did my friends or family. I arrived at the wedding. We have the ceremony, the cocktail hour, the dinner, and the reception. I get my compliments on the dress, and the bride even comments on how much she loves it several times. Towards the end of the reception, the venue dimmed the lights and turned on some black lights. These black lights made my dress appear more white than yellow. A member of the wedding party approached me while the black lights were on and stated that I needed to leave because my dress was quote-unquote white and inappropriate. I stated that the dress was yellow, but the black lights were making it appear white. The member of the wedding party stated that if I didn't leave, she would quote-unquote make me. I stated I'm here to celebrate my friend, repeated that the dress was yellow, and said I will not be leaving early. Bride and groom hadn't left yet, and I came from overseas. The conversation, while heated, did not have raised voices or foul language from either side, but I will say it was tense. The wedding party member walked off, and I watched as they immediately went to talk to the groom, angrily pointing in my direction. The groom shrugged and continued to dance. The next morning, I was approached by a different friend at breakfast, not in the wedding party, who stated that they heard what happened and that I should have left when asked because it made people quote unquote uncomfortable, and that I made it about me partying rather than respecting wedding etiquette. I have felt incredibly embarrassed about this since. So am I the asshole for not leaving the wedding when asked? Too long didn't read. Wore yellow dress that looked white under black lights. Was asked to leave by a member of the wedding party. Didn't leave. Told I made others uncomfortable by a friend next day. This is a trip. No, you're not the a-hole. Like, how would you have known that there was going to be a black light at the wedding? Like, that's crazy. And everybody saw you in that yellow dress beforehand. So to say that you were, not following wedding etiquette is just a bit over the top, if you ask me. Okay, let's check the comments. Ducky818 says, not the a-hole. Who checks their attire under black lights to see if it passes? Ridiculousness. I understand if it appeared white under normal lights, but come on. This was an unusual situation at the end of the reception. You are fine, and whomever approached you was completely and utterly out of line. Some people have nothing better to do than look for problems that don't exist. OP responded and said, I agree about it passing under black lights beforehand. It's not something I even thought about. Zombie Healthy says, no one would have because it's unreasonable. Also, every pastel or lighter tone dress would have looked white under the black light. Take a photo of the dress and send it to anyone who asks simply with, this is the dress. You tell me if it looks white. What you have here is a bridesmaid who was too angry drunk to behave like a reasonable person, and I was not going to leave the wedding because the bridesmaid was sloppy drunk. Let that narrative take over. Or post a photo of you in the dress at the wedding on social media with, I need from the court of public opinion to find out if this dress looks white in any way, shape, or form. Because I went to a wedding a few weeks ago in this dress and got yelled at by a drunk bridesmaid that needed to leave because I was wearing a white dress. I'm so confused. Post that. That'll reset the narrative. That is just messy boots. There's no need to do all that. You know what color you had on. The guests know what color you had on. The bride and groom didn't seem to be pressed about it. So it is what it is. Like, be for real. All right. So that's all for that story. Today's video was rather short because the next one is a long one. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subbing and hitting the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload. See you next time.